Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsoring partner, the Campaign for Black Male Achievement. CBMA is a national membership network that's built a vibrant community of over 5,700 members and more than 2,700 organizations that's been working together over the past decade to build beloved communities across America where Black men and boys are healthy, thriving, and enabled to achieve their fullest potential. If you're interested in learning more, hop on over right now to tbpod.com/partners and consider joining the membership or donating to help them scale the impact of this growing field of Black male achievement.
You're listening to the Trailblazers.fm podcast, where we'll explore the stories of today's successful Black professionals, entrepreneurs, and leaders. Join us to access the knowledge, resources, and tools of these accomplished professionals and come away with the know-how, confidence, and motivation you'll need to blaze your trail. And now, here's your host, Stephen A. Hart.
Hello, Trailblazer Nation. So excited to be back with you today to talk about 3 easy food changes that we can make right now to become way more consistent with healthy eating. And the bonus is that we can do this without interrupting our lives, disrupting the trails that we're already blazing, the businesses, the families, the communities that we're serving, and the legacies that we're leaving. So the last time I was here with you guys, we talked about why it's so important as trailblazers that we don't bet on later, that we don't let our health and fitness and the way that we're eating be that can, that proverbial can, right? That we're just kicking down the road, and that we're saying, I'm going to do this after the business is built, after the nonprofit is set up, after the kids are in high school, because we said last time that when we bet on later, everybody loses, right? When we bet on later, everybody loses because later is not guaranteed. And even if we do manage to kick that can down the road and get there without severe illnesses, without anything like that, that even if we're crushing it right now in a state where we're not eating well, where we're not moving our bodies, that we could be even more effective and even just more effective for our missions right now if we were doing that from a state of optimal health. So I know that the biggest roadblock to getting that done is consistency, is making it easy, is the fact that we are expending so much energy and brain power in our individual missions and how we're already serving the world. So today, we're going to talk about 3 easy ways to get on the road to consistency with healthy eating and to solve 2 of the problems that often come up when people tell me they're not eating healthy and they want to do it. When I've asked them what exactly they mean, these are the 2 things that come up for them. So let's start first with what is the challenge that we're trying to solve, right? So anytime you're taking on anything new, it's usually for a reason, right? We don't usually just take on new things out of the blue for no reason. There's usually a problem that we're trying to solve. And 2 of the things that I hear repeatedly from people like you is that, Concita, I just know I'm eating too much. Like I'm staying up late, I'm working on my projects, and I know that the popcorn and the Cheetos and the chips and the candy bars that I'm eating at 1 o'clock when I'm typing up proposals, I know that's not helping me with my health. Or I'm eating healthy, relatively healthy during the day, and then, I'm raiding the pantry at night. I'm just eating too much. And then the second thing that you guys have told me is that I know I'm eating the wrong things. Like I have a will to do the right thing, but the cravings, they just get the best of me. I don't know what's wrong, but it's like clockwork at 3 o'clock every day. Whether I try to or not, I'm at that vending machine, right? Whether I try to or not, I'm at my coworker's desk getting that candy, right? So those are the issues that many of us are trying to solve when we say we're trying to get on track with our healthy eating. We're trying to get consistent, right? Or for those of us who are parents, maybe we buy goldfish for the kids or we buy some snacks for them, some crackers. Maybe they have peanut butter crackers, but we're eating the whole sleeve of crackers before they even get to the peanut butter. So things like that. And when you're stuck in that place, because trust me, I've been there, it can feel completely overwhelming. And it could feel like the only way out is an overhaul. It can feel like the only way out is a diet, or the only way out is like a program, a strict program where you buckle down and you get serious. But the truth is that for most of us, especially trailblazers, highly committed to missions that sometimes have nothing to do with health and wellness, the truth is it's often just too much to be sustainable. And for some of us, it's too much to even start. So how do we do that? How do we make easy changes? Well, the first one is so simple and so easy that you're going to be tempted to hit stop on the podcast. But I promise you, if you keep listening, it's going to all make sense to you. The first easy food trick that we can employ to become more consistent with healthy eating and actually to even become more productive is to drink enough water every single day. So we all know this, right? I think we've all heard it. Even our grandmothers told us that we needed to drink some water, right? Growing up. But it's interesting to me how many of us will shake our head and nod and say, yeah, water. Like, give me something more, Concita. Like, give me the juice, give me the goods. What are the nuggets? But when we really sit back and we think about it, most of us are not doing it. As a matter of fact, what I find interesting is when I began working with clients, many of them will tell me, I'm a water drinker. I barely drink anything other than water. And then when I dig a little bit and they share how much water they drink, I'm almost floored. It's like, oh, yeah, I drink 2 bottles a day. And they're not telling lies. They drink mostly water. They drink 2 bottles a day. So what that means is they're walking around most days completely dehydrated and then confused about why they always have hunger or why they feel a little bit lethargic or they're not quite as productive as they want to be or the creativity isn't flowing. Trailblazer Nation, listen, drinking water is essential, absolutely essential. It helps with hunger, right? So it prevents false hunger. Many times when we think we need something to eat, we're actually dehydrated and confusing the signals. It helps with productivity. So one of the things that I learned, and it had nothing to do with weight loss or food and fitness strategy, which is what I do, it had everything to do with business. And I was reading a business book, a book about productivity. And there was a study shared in the book that said even the least bits of dehydration have a dramatic effect on productivity. So this is a very important thing that we can do right now. And as I've shared, drinking enough water can help with both productivity and to erase false hunger and to increase our energy, right? So especially for those of us burning the midnight oil, maybe working a 9 to 5 and working on our dreams, after dark, we need that increased energy. So how much water do we need and how do we work up to that? You guys have probably all heard of, the 8 cups a day, right? And 8 cups a day, that's 8 cups, 8 ounces, that's 64 ounces, that's 2 liters of water. And what I will say, if you are starting at a place where you're drinking 1 or 2 bottles of water a day, then 8 cups a day is an excellent start, but it's not where we end. So what's actually optimal is up to half your body weight in ounces a day, meaning if I'm 200 pounds, that's about 100 ounces a day. And we usually tap that out around a gallon. So if you're, 300 pounds, we're not necessarily looking to do a gallon plus per day, but working up to 8 cups a day at first, then getting up to 3 liters, which is 96 ounces a day. And then if you weigh more or you're extremely active or you live in an extremely hot climate, or all of the above, working all the way up to about a gallon a day. Like that's an optimal amount of water. And as I've stated already, the benefits of doing that are tremendous. So from energy, productivity, and helping you be able to eat less naturally. So if you have a goal of maintaining your weight or even losing weight, drinking water can help. So the second easy food trick that will help us become more consistent with our healthy eating is another piece of advice that grandma already gave us, which is to eat your vegetables. I know, right? This stuff is so elementary. We all know it, but are we doing it, right? One of the things that I highly recommend that my clients do is to eat 3 green vegetables a day. No matter what else is going on, you may be eating kale and cake, that's fine, but getting 3 green vegetables a day because there are so many benefits to that. Now, the first thing that I do want to say is This does not mean that you can't eat vegetables that are not green. Doesn't mean that you don't eat cauliflower or carrots or other vegetables that are not green. Mushrooms are not off limit. But getting your 3 servings of green veggies a day helps tremendously with getting in fiber. Believe it or not, helps tremendously with combating a sweet tooth. So I've told this story a lot of times, but I've never told it here on this podcast. I had a client who I was working with years ago. At this point now, I think we're about 4 years ago, who was really, really struggling with a sweet tooth. She was a busy working woman, corporate professional, also a family woman, husband, kids. And one of the main things that she wanted me to help her with was overcoming what she considered an out of control sweet tooth. Well, on our first phone call, when we talked about like what her typical days were like, what her typical meals were, her typical daily meals, the thing that jumped out to me immediately was no wonder she has an out of control sweet tooth. She barely eats vegetables. Like vegetables are like occasionally. And from what I could tell during that phone call, she rarely gets enough of them. So she was getting barely any fiber. She wasn't getting any vegetables and she had out of control sweet tooth. One of the first things we did within her first month of us working together is she had a goal of getting 3 green veggies a day. Now, there's a lot of ways that you can do this really, really easily. There's 2 ways. My clients have 2 favorite ways of getting this done so that they don't have to think about it all day because we're talking about 3 servings, not veggies with 3 meals. And so it's really easy to get 3 servings in one meal. And 2 of my clients' favorite ways to do that is a green smoothie in the morning with breakfast, right? Because if you've got 2 handfuls of spinach and half a cucumber mixed with whatever you want, whether it's mango or pineapple or apple or whatever it is, that's 3 servings of veggies. You drink that alongside your bacon and your eggs, and you've gotten your veggies for the day. You don't have to think about it anymore. The second way that my clients really love getting this done is what we call a BOS or a big old salad. And so usually for lunch is usually when they do it, they'll have an entree salad. So again, the same principle, maybe 2 handfuls of mixed greens, some cucumbers, some bell pepper, carrots, etc., some meat, of course, some delicious dressing, and they've got 3 servings of vegetables in one meal. Happened at lunch. They don't have to think about it anymore. It's very easy. I'm not suggesting that you have to eat a green veggie with your breakfast, a green veggie with your lunch, and a green veggie with your dinner to get it done. And if you miss any of those, like you're out. It's not like that. It's 3 servings and you can get it done in one meal. But it helps tremendously. You get enough fiber, which also helps with your energy, helps with preventing sweet cravings. It also helps with fullness. Remember, we said that one of the problems that people often cite when they feel like they're just not eating healthy is they're eating too much or they feel like they're eating all the wrong things. Well, getting 3 servings of green veggies a day can help. And it's a simple trick. It's not a food overhaul. As I've shared, you can do this by adding a green smoothie or adding a BOS for one of your major meals. It's not about what you take away, Trailblazer Nation. It's really not. And then the third and final easy food trick to become more consistent with healthy eating, to struggle less with having to use willpower to not eat so much or to not eat so many sweets, is to just make sure that your meals have protein in them. Now, here's where it gets tricky because sometimes we think that eating healthier means eating light. Embarrassing story. There was a time in my 20s where I wanted to lose weight and I'm like, okay, I'm just eating too much. So let me just cut out meat because if I cut out meat, that's a bunch of calories that I'm just cutting out. But what I didn't realize is that protein is one of those macronutrients that's most effective for keeping you full and making you feel satisfied after a meal. So I cut out meat, but I tremendously increased my intake of rice and potatoes and beans and all of the above. And I was eating way more. And needless to say, I didn't feel better. I definitely didn't lose any weight. And I was really having to concentrate hard to try and eat less. And it just wasn't working out. So including protein with your meals can go a tremendously long way in the fight to become more consistent with your healthy eating, to make it easier to not eat more than you want to make it easier to not even resist, but not to have the cravings for a lot of the sweets that many of us battle with, and to have the energy and the creativity and the ability to be productive as you blaze your trail and just work towards your mission. So I hope this was super helpful for you. You guys can always find me around on social media everywhere as Concita Thomas, Facebook, Instagram. I'm there. And if you would like to join my free support group, I run a free support group for women, and you can do that by going to concitaThomas.com/become a fierce friend. That's all I have for you today. Stay fierce.
I'm Steve Nehart, and you've been listening to the Trailblazers.fm podcast. If you're not yet doing so, consider following Trailblazers.fm on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and feel free to connect with me over on LinkedIn. Whenever you're posting stories or social media posts about Trailblazers.fm, be sure to use the hashtag TBPod and hashtag MissionFuel. We'll be able to see you, and I'll be able to show some love. And in case you're not aware, our show notes for all our episodes can be found on our website over at tbpod.com. Now, if today was your first time listening, I just want to say big ups and enough respect for checking us out. You've made this Jamaican guy really happy that you're here with us today. And I'd love your help with keeping this Black excellence flowing each and every week. So if you haven't yet subscribed, hop on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Search Trailblazers.fm and subscribe, rate, and review us there. Be sure to browse through some of our past episodes. There are more than 150 published episodes now, and a little something is out there for everyone to help keep the knowledge flowing. We grow when you, as part of our Blazer Nation community, shares and invites your friends and family to listen to an episode you think might impact them most. We believe that someone listening to these inspiring stories are going to be moved to make significant changes that have generational impact for many others, both now and well into the future. Don't miss next week's episode. New episodes are released each and every Monday morning at 5 a.m. Eastern. Blazer Nation, go out today and find a way to rise above, go way beyond, and keep blazing your trail.